Go back to the NFL. Week 7 starts tonight between the Broncos and the Saints. But the big headline this week, of course, was the Jets adding Davante Adams to the mix. Adams arrived early Tuesday morning and has been getting up to speed. He's at practice yesterday already. He's reportedly staying with Aaron Rodgers, really diving into the playbook as he's expected to play Sunday night against the Steelers.
It's a weird thing to say, you know, that I'm happy, but, you know, obviously it was time for a change. And, you know, this whole thing kind of transpired a little weird, but it's at the end of the day, we in a better place. I think that Raiders are in a better place as well, and you know, everybody can kind of move on.
You know, he sat next to me in the team meeting today, and I turned to him and just said, "Man, how crazy is this?" Something that you know, when we get together in the off seasons, we joke about, but it never seemed like a possibility or going to happen. So it's good to be with him.
Dan Orlovsky, Jason McCourty, of course, Stephen A. Smith, and Mina Kimes back here with us. Things change quickly, especially in that division. If the Jets lose this weekend, they could be at the bottom of the division. They're on a short week now. They're playing in prime time. They have a new wide receiver. And so, Mina, I'm going to go to you first here. How far do you think the Jets need to go this season in order for it to feel successful?
This is a Super Bowl or bust team. I'm kind of shocked that anyone would argue otherwise. I'm not saying, by the way, that they're going to win a Super Bowl or that they're favorites to win a Super Bowl, but the season is about making it to the Super Bowl and winning it. You've got a 40-year-old quarterback, a roster that is optimized to win now. In the future, you're going to have to pay some of your best players very soon. Actually, Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner are due for contracts imminently. So it's going to get even harder. This defense has been elite over the last few years. It is very difficult to sustain that level of play over the course of many years. So they're all in. It's right now. It's now or never, frankly. And that's why they're making moves like the Davante Adams move, because there's an awareness in the front office that they have to win this season.
Absolutely, and I'm right with Mina because she's talked about the moves that they've made. And the one move they made a week ago was firing their head coach. You don't fire your head coach with the hopes of, all right, we think we might be a playoff team this year. We might be able to get to the doorstep, but we don't know if we have enough to be able to finish it and end up with a Super Bowl. When they traded for Aaron Rodgers, at that point, it became about a Super Bowl for the New York Jets. When you have a quarterback, we don't sit here at this table today, we don't know for sure Aaron Rodgers is coming back next year to play another season. We don't know that the Jets want Davante Adams beyond just this football season. Every move they've made has been to bring the Lombardi to the New York Jets. From the moment Aaron Rodgers walked in from that press conference and he said the one Lombardi there looked lonely, it has been about this. And the panic that they've had over the last week to ensure that they have the roster and the team to compete for a Super Bowl further proves that it is that or bust. So without a shadow of a doubt, I think this year is Super Bowl bust. They went out and got offensive linemen to actually compete that are going to be free agents next year to show that, hey, we have to do it now or it's not going to happen.
They're shooting for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We understand that. We understand that's the goal, that's the aim. They have the talent to pull it off. Mm-hmm. But what I'm trying to say, Mina, J. Mac, Oprah, is this. The point that I'm trying to make to you, yeah, because Dan always got an explanation for everything. That's what I say about Oprah, okay? When you look at the New York Jets and you look at Aaron Rodgers and the personnel that they've surrounded him with and they've gone all in, why would I bring up a name like Lamar Jackson, even ahead of Aaron Rodgers? Not only is he a two-time league MVP and a reigning league MVP, but they've been knocking on the door, knocking on the door. And against Patrick Mahomes, more so than anybody else, is when he falters and comes up short. When Peyton Manning was chasing that elusive Super Bowl championship, it was Bill Belichick and Tom Brady that kept standing in his way, okay? So that was the path to prosperity that you had to penetrate, okay? When we look at Aaron Rodgers, he was in the NFC. And he wasn't looking that damn good. I mean, we seen him score 10 points in the playoffs at Lambeau Field. We wondering whether or not he was going to retire. We're looking at him and saying, what's up? What's happened to you? Even though, listen, you know how I feel about him. You know how I feel. He's a bad man. Make no mistake about it. But in the same breath, it wasn't like he was in the AFC and kept knocking and knocking and knocking and couldn't get over the hump. This is the first time he's been playing there because he got hurt 4 plays in the last season. I'm just saying to you, I understand that the expectation is Jets, you got to get over the hump, got to get over the hump. But we all know who's really, really standing in everybody's way in the AFC. That's what I'm saying. When you talk about San Francisco, well, Brock Purdy only played one Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes. But we're looking at the 49ers and we're like, damn, 4 NFC championship games and 2 Super Bowl appearances in the last 5 years, and you still can't get it done. You knocking. That's what we're looking at. You can't ignore that reality when it comes to a Patrick Mahomes, the San Francisco 49ers, in comparison to somebody like the New York Jets. We're looking at Aaron Rodgers. You came to New York. Make us relevant again. You ain't been in the playoffs since 2010.
Right.
In the playoffs. You're trying to tell me that if Aaron Rodgers sits up there and gets them to the postseason and they get to the AFC Championship game and he's balling, but the defense can't stop Patrick Mahomes, we going to all look at Aaron Rodgers and be like, you messed up.
What if it's the division?
We're not going to do that. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
To J-Mac's point, like, listen, the Super Bowl or bust thing is just to paint a very clear picture of expectations.
Okay.
You know, like last year's season, maybe not the great example. San Francisco's season last year wasn't a bust. It's an ultimate disappointment. So it's just to paint a very clear picture, okay, of like, is it real or not? It isn't Super Bowl or bust for a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers. So there's different levels to what we expect from teams and their capability. There's a couple things that have gotten lost about the Jets in the conversations. Okay, number one, this team is better than 2-4. We can't always live in the record of like, you are what your record says you are. They've lost 2 games because of missed field goals. If you look at their 3 consecutive losses, this is where Davante comes even more, okay? There's a finisher. They're playing the Broncos. I have it right here. They're playing the Broncos. They get the ball back on their own 40 with $1:20 left. Missed a field goal. They didn't finish. Then they're playing the Vikings. They get the ball back with their own 30 with like 3:30 left. Interception. And games end in an interception. Last week, they get the ball back, own 30, 3:40, game ends in an interception. It's now going to be expected that this football team finishes those games because they brought in Davante Adams. He's got the guy that now they can go finish the game. The second part of this is this. Let's go over their schedule, okay? If you guys have the schedule, throw it up. There's 2 really hard games left for the season.
For the Jets?
2.
Okay.
That's it. Houston and then on the road at Buffalo, week 17. We're talking this team at worst, should get to 10-7. At worst.
I agree with that.
Realistically, they should be an 11-6 football team. That's going to get them in the dance.
Okay. So what's your point?
But you're saying that it's Super Bowl or bust, not just getting into the dance.
Because there is the context of Stephen A's point is fair. If they get into the playoffs and they play in the divisional round at Arrowhead and Butker kicks a 50-yarder to win the game, no one with the...
But to me, it's bust because I don't see next... Like, there's certain teams where you say, all right, we can bring the band back and go at it next year.
No, yes, bust in regards to, like,
it's about
what the
timeline.
expectations are.
This question is about timeline.
Yes.
Like,
ahead,
the Houston Texans are better than the Jets. The Houston Texans are a better football team. I have them a tier above. But it's not Super Bowl or bust for the Houston Texans because you have this young, incredible quarterback who's going to be good for a long time. The reason it's Super Bowl or bust for the Jets is what J-Mac and I were talking about at the beginning. It's because of their timeline. It's because of the age of the quarterback. It's because of the nature of the roster. They know this. That's why they're making these moves. Absolutely. They're not going to be a favorite to win. I think we all agree with that. We would put the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Texans, the Bills above them. But they have to win. They know that they have to win. Dan, I quibble with your idea that there were a few missed field goals away. That, like, the only reason they were a missed field goal away is because they hit a Hail Mary against the Bills. The Vikings smashed them, if we're being honest. And the Broncos, I mean, that was
I wouldn't say smashed them.
Negative yard.
The Vikings just smashed everybody.
Come on.
There's been one team who has scored more against the Vikings this year.
I think Mina
significantly better
being a bit harsh. I can't believe Mina.
Yes, they're a better football team, but Minnesota's done. You just said the Houston Texans are a Super Bowl contender. Minnesota smashed them.
The Giants could say the same thing about games they've lost.
Can I bring up something, though?
Right, but the Giants aren't talented enough to win the Super Bowl.
Can I bring up something, you guys? This is a Jets team that has not made the playoffs, not even sniffed them, in over a decade. They haven't been there since 2010. So you're trying to tell me I understand you brought in Aaron Rodgers, and now Davante Adams. I get all the moves that have been made. However, you mean to tell me if they don't at least just make the playoffs, that's not considered successful?
Then what next
they haven't been there.
No.
That's not gonna.
You mean, Sherry, you're trying to say that
you got to do more than just make
If they make the playoffs,
I'll agree with that.
I feel like Jets fans would be happy. Would they want? Of course, everyone wants to Super Bowl. Let's not be crazy.
At the beginning of the season, I stated Aaron Rodgers and the Jets can't lose to anybody but Patrick Mahomes. No, but I don't care about Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Can't lose to anybody but Patrick Mahomes. If you that dude, especially now that they got Davante Adams.
Playoffs aren't just enough.
I said, playoffs are not just enough.
If they play in the wild
you got to beat
card?
Patrick Mahomes. Again, no one but Patrick Mahomes.
So if they lose to the Chiefs in the wild card, they're good.
Well,
Chiefs aren't going to be in the wild card.
You're right.